Hi, this is Lesley Fightmaster, and welcome to day 42. And today we're going to just take it easy and a little more stretching, a little more relaxing. I know you've been working really, really hard, and congratulations on making it to day 42. So we're going to start sitting and just bring your hands together in front of your heart and take this opportunity to create an intention for your practice. And all intentions are always welcome. And we'll keep our intention with us today, and we'll start off just rolling forward onto the hands and knees, wrists under the shoulders and knees under the hips. On your inhale, bring your chest forward, lift your chin and your tailbone. As you exhale, round your upper back, press away from the floor like a Halloween cat. On your inhale again, bring your chest through the gates of your arms. As you exhale, press away from the floor, tuck your tailbone, lift your belly, pull your ribs in. Inhale, glide your shoulder blades down towards your waist. And exhale, round the back, chin toward chest. Inhale, coming forward once again, lift your chin, lift your tailbone. And exhale, begin to round the back. And then bring your spine to neutral. Slide your right arm underneath your left arm. Take your left fingertips and press them onto the floor and start to roll your chest open and extend the left leg back, but keep the toes tucked under on the floor. And then taking your left hand behind your back, see if you can roll the left shoulder back a little bit more as you widen across your collarbones. So widen open the chest and stretch open the shoulder. Come back to center. And then slide your left arm underneath your right arm, coming to the left shoulder and extending back through the right leg. Bring your right fingertips onto the floor and press there. Tuck the toes, extend the right leg back. Use a little more leverage to press and twist from the waist up. And then taking your right hand to your lower back or reach around and hook it onto your left thigh. And then we'll come back through center and reach your arms forward and take your hips back to your heels into a child's pose. So extending back, lengthening through the spine here. You can have your knees wide or closer together, whatever feels more comfortable. If you take the knees wide, you'll start to stretch open through the hips a bit. And then with your hands just where they were, let's come back up onto the knees, stepping your right foot forward between the hands and start to sink forward in a low lunge with your fingers interlaced and resting on your right thigh. Drop your tailbone down and lift your frontal hip points up toward your lower ribs. And draw your right hip back as you sink in here. And then bringing the hands down to the floor. Straighten the front leg, come up onto your heel and fold over that leg for half Hanumanasana, half split. And if it's hard to reach the floor, you can use blocks underneath your hands, or if you don't have blocks, use some phone books work really well if anyone has phone books anymore. Now bring your hands right in the big toe side of your right foot and sink the hips forward there. So it's a little more getting into the outer hip on the right side. If you wanted to take it deeper, you could always come down to the forearms. Keep your left hand down and reach up through the right arm for a little twist. Again, widening across the collarbones. We lean back a little bit, but continue to pull your right hip back and down. Let's come back to center and step the right foot back. Inhale the left foot forward. So again, sinking into your low lunge. Interlace your fingers, other pinky in front as you sink in. Pulling the left hip back again and sending the right hip forward. And then this low lunge really helps to stretch out the hip flexors on the right side. And then straightening the left leg and fold over that leg now to stretch out the hamstrings on the left. Pull your left hip back and just lengthen, hinging from your hips instead of bending from the waist. So try and keep your spine really long. Firming the leg muscles. And now bring your hands on the inside of the left foot and lengthen on your inhale. Exhale here, or you could come down to the forearms if you want to go in deeper. Make sure your knee stays right lined up over the second toe and over your ankle. And then keeping the right hand down, we'll lift the left arm up and twist. And again, the twist is from the waist up, so try and pull back on the left hip and drop it down any amount. And then we'll release that. And make your way back into table. And then hips back to the heels for a child's pose. And this time, try the knees wide and see if you can allow your belly to just sink down between the legs. And as your hips reach towards your heels, you'll lengthen through your spine. And come back to your nice, steady breath. So your inhales and your exhales begin to lengthen. And just take a moment as you're here to notice if you have any tension in the neck or the shoulders. Come on up and then sit onto your bottom and bring your feet to the front and lie onto your back. Extend the legs out. I'm going to reach the right leg up, and you could take your toe or you can hold on to the right leg, or if you happen to have a yoga strap, you can put that around the ball of the right foot, and we'll extend out to to stretch out the hamstrings. But if you can straighten the leg all the way, make sure to pull up on the kneecap and firm the quadricep muscles. We want the right hip to drop forward toward your left foot, toward the front of your mat, so that your hips stay nice and level. And this is called Supta Padangusthasana, and we'll use this to stretch out the legs. This is a really good stretch. As you exhale, you're going to open up the leg to the right and keep your left hip pressing down. So I was about to say it's a really good stretch. When you lift the leg straight up to the ceiling, if you have tight hamstrings, it really isolates the hamstrings. And then when you take it out to the side, it really isolates the outer hip and the inner thigh. So nothing else is involved. Your back isn't involved. So it's a really nice way to stretch out the muscles in the legs. That left hip does want to pop up when you take the right leg to the right, so just be mindful to keep it down. Come back to center, switch hands with your strap or holding your leg, and take the leg over to the left as you look over your right shoulder, as long as your neck's good with that. So twisting is wonderful for many, many things, especially the spine and the digestive system. As you twist here, try to turn your belly to face up toward the ceiling. And it's okay for your right leg to turn your left leg to turn as you take the right leg across. And then come on back to center, and we'll release that leg. And if you pause here a moment, the right leg might feel a little bit longer than the left because we stretched it out. Bending the left knee will bring it in, so holding on to the leg, you can hold in the upper leg, the lower leg, reach the toe, or use a towel or a strap, and just allow that leg to lengthen out. The left hip is going to want to hike up toward your head, so try to drop it down towards your right foot, toward the front of your mat, so that we can level off the hips. Make sure as you're holding your left leg that you're not creating any tension in that shoulder. Come back to nice, steady breathing. And then as you exhale, we'll take the leg over to the left. And then again, watch that right hip that it doesn't pop up. Keep it grounded down. Look over the right shoulder if that's fine with your neck. So if your right hip pops up off the floor, Bring the left leg up closer towards center and then reground the right hip and then move from that place of stability. We always want to move from a place of stability before we go into our flexibility. It's just much safer that way. Back to center on the inhale. As you exhale, we'll take the leg over to the right for a twist. Look over your left shoulder. And just taking some nice long breaths into that twist. And then as you exhale, try and turn your belly to face up toward the ceiling. Keep your breath nice and steady. Long, smooth inhales. Equal exhales. And then back to center and slowly release that leg. And bend both knees. Take the heels right underneath the knees, the feet parallel. As you inhale, lift your hips and low back and mid back, maybe the upper back. And as you exhale, lower down slowly, one vertebra at a time. And again, inhale to lift and exhale to lower, just a gentle bridge pose. Inhale, lifting up, reach your tailbone toward the backs of your knees. Keep your neck long. And exhale, lower down slowly. And again, inhale, lifting up. And exhale to lower down. Inhale again, stretching out the whole front of the body. Exhale, lowering one vertebra at a time. And then draw the knees into the chest, into Apanasana. Just rock gently from side to side on your back. Maybe make some little circles on your back, one direction and the other. And then bring your arms out to a T and let your knees drop over to the left and turn to look over the right shoulder. If you want to intensify your twist, you can cross your right knee on top of your left knee as well. And we're going to stay here for just a little bit. So as you move into this twist, again, see if you can turn your belly up to face the ceiling. Now I put my hand in between my knees because it just made my knees more in line with the hips. So you're welcome to try that, or if you have a yoga block, you can put the block between your knees. And that will just kind of level you out. Just take a couple more breaths here. Just focusing on the breath. You can even close your eyes and see if you can relax into this twist anymore. And then come back to center and exhale your knees to the right. Hips can shift over to the left a little. And turn to look over the left shoulder. So again, I've got my hand in between the knees just to kind of even out my knees a little bit closer with the hips. And you can do the same, or you can put a blanket there or a block or a pillow. And again, with every exhale, just allow yourself to sink in a little bit deeper into the twist. See if there's any tension around your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. But if you find any, just allow that Just recognize it and then breathe into it and allow yourself to let it go. Just tell yourself to let that go. Come back to center and then hug your knees in again, gently rocking side to side. Roll yourself off to your right and press yourself up. Let your head come up last and extend your legs in front of you into Dandasana pose. So if you want to lengthen your spine, you can sit up on the edge of a pillow or a blanket. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale to extend forward. Keep your spine nice and long. So it's not really about how deep can I get into this pose, but how much length can I create in my spine as I extend forward. And I want to hinge forward from the hips to keep that length in the lower back as I come forward, leading with the chest. And then just come back and focus on your inhales and your exhales as you're here. And with every inhale, see if you can lengthen forward a little bit. With every exhale, maybe go a little deeper. You can feel free to bend the knees if you would like to get a little deeper into the low back and the hamstrings are feeling tight. However, eventually we'll want to try to straighten out the legs so that we can lengthen those hamstrings. Inhale and lift up. And then find a wall near you. Take your right hip up against the wall. As you take your right hip up, lean back and swing your legs right up the wall for Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. And we're going to be here for a little bit. Bring your arms out to the sides, either in a goalpost shape with bent elbows, or you can take the arms out with your palms facing up. And just allow yourself to sink your back into the floor with your feet resting lightly against the wall. And if your hips aren't right up against the wall, it's no big deal. And from here, we'll take our legs into Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet come together and your knees open apart. You can take your feet as close to your torso as you're comfortable. And we will be here for a couple of minutes. So make it so that you do have a nice stretch, but not that it's uncomfortable. You want to have a comfortable stretch. And then again, take a moment to return to your breath. And then return to your intention for your practice. And then staying present with your breath. See if you have any areas in your body that are feeling tension. And if you find any tension, allow yourself to take the breath there and release it. Check your jaw, especially, and your shoulders, maybe in the hips. And as you continue to stay with this pose, take a moment just to notice what's going on in your mind. And just observe it. And then let it go. And take your attention back to your breath. And then from here, we'll extend the legs out to the sides. And again, we are stretching our inner thighs and our outer hips here at the wall. So allow the legs to be as open as you are comfortable with. Keeping in mind again that we will be here for a few minutes. So we want to feel a good stretch, but we don't want to feel like it's very uncomfortable to stay. And then once again, return to your breath. Maybe a moment to return to your intention. And if you find your mind wandering, and just bring that back to your breath. It helps me when I'm trying to stay present in a pose or a little meditation. I'll say to myself, I am breathing in when I take an inhale, and then I am breathing out when I take an exhale. And that just allows me to stay present in the moment with my breath. And take your hands to the outsides of your thighs and just gently take your legs together, still keeping the legs up the wall. With our legs up the wall, it helps to bring on the relaxation response, or the response that we sometimes call the rest and digest response. So many times when we are just going day to day in our lives, we come across a lot of stress, and the stress will trigger the fight or flight reaction. And as we live much of our lives in the fight or flight reaction, then we don't get the ability to really digest our food, really allow our body, our systems in our body to do the work that they need to do to keep us healthy. So even a simple thing like this class, slowing down, focusing on the breath, taking the legs up the wall especially, will help to calm our whole system. And it's really, really good. I even read studies that show it helps to decrease the visceral fat on our bodies. So, I always think that we have to work really hard if we want to lose weight, but not necessarily. This is going to be our final pose today. So if this is really not very comfortable for you to relax, then feel free to bend your knees and roll off to one side and make your way into Shavasana. Otherwise, we'll stay right here, allowing ourselves to relax and renew. And as we're resting here just a little bit longer, if your legs are up the wall still, just draw your knees into your chest. So as you make your way slowly up to seated, our quote today is from the poet Hafiz. When all your desires are distilled, you will cast just 2 votes: to love more and be happy. Rolling off to the side, honoring your intention, honoring yourself for all this wonderful work you've been doing every day. We'll make our way up to seated. Sit up nice and tall. Bring your hands together in front of your heart center. Bring the hands to the forehead, reminding us to have clear and loving thoughts. And our hands to the heart center, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. And our hands to the mouth to remind us to have clear and loving communications. Send out all this wonderful energy to all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. If you liked this video today, please push the like button and leave me a comment, maybe what your intention was. I love to read about those. Subscribe, please, if you haven't. Share these classes with your friends. And if you can afford a donation of any amount, there is a link below. The donations help us on our mission to take yoga or bring yoga to as many people as we can possibly reach. So we really appreciate anything that you can do to help. You could also go to fightmasteryoga.com, and there's an Amazon link that you can help support us with. Thanks. Bye-bye.